What happens when the NFL calls you a failure before you ever get a real chance? Tommy Maddox was drafted in the first round to replace John Elway. He was set up to fail. Bounced from team to team, benched, forgotten. By 26, he was out of the league and selling insurance. But that wasn't the end. Not even close. He fought his way back, dominated the XFL, won MVP, and earned a second shot in the NFL. This is the story of a quarterback who lost everything and came back stronger. But before the comeback came the collapse. He was just 20 years old when the Denver Broncos made the most controversial pick of the 1992 NFL Draft. Tommy Maddox, first round, 25th overall. Not because he wasn't talented, but because Denver already had John Elway. Still in his prime, still untouchable. The media tore it apart. Why draft a quarterback now? Why not fill the holes that actually mattered? From day one, Maddox was buried by expectations he never asked for. Drafted to be the future, while the legend still owned the present. When he finally saw the field, the results were rough. 4 starts, 5 touchdowns, 9 picks, a 56.4 passer rating, and endless questions about whether he ever belonged. Fans didn't see a prodigy. They saw a wasted pick. Maddox wasn't being groomed. He was being scapegoated. Denver gave up fast. In 1994, they shipped him to the Rams, then to the Giants, then a short stint in Atlanta. 4 teams in 5 years, no rhythm, no confidence, no real shot. In New York, it got worse. 1 game, 6 completions, 23 attempts, 3 interceptions. The box score said it all. Promise had become proof of failure. By 1997, the NFL was done with him. 7 touchdowns, 14 picks, a passer rating below 60, and at just 26 years old, Tommy Maddox was out of football. He returned home to Dallas. No crowds, no cameras, just a desk job selling insurance. For a kid once expected to replace a legend, the silence was deafening. But the story didn't end there, because deep down, Maddox still believed there was more. Tommy Maddox didn't retire, he disappeared. By late 1997, he was out of the league and behind a desk, working as an insurance agent for Allstate in Dallas. The shift was brutal. From game day adrenaline to cold calls, from roaring crowds to quiet cubicles. He played golf, built his client list, smiled through meetings. But the fire was still there, and the silence, it was overwhelming. Maddox later admitted he struggled, not with the job, but with the loss of self. Football wasn't just a career, it was who he was. Without it, he was floating, but he never fully let go. He'd sneak out to empty fields and throw passes by himself. No team, no cameras, just muscle memory and something deeper, a refusal to move on. That fire flared when he started volunteering at LD Bell High School, his old stomping grounds. Coaching kids, he rediscovered the game without the weight. No contracts, no media, just football. And that joy, it brought something back. But joy wasn't enough, not for Maddox. He didn't want to remember who he was. He wanted to be it again. By 1999, the itch was too strong to ignore. The Arena Football League was out there. No fame, no money, no glamour. But it was football, and it was real. In 2000, after 3 years away from the game, Maddox signed with the New Jersey Red Dogs. Not for headlines, not for legacy. He did it for himself. To see if he still had it and find out if the game had really left him behind, or if he just hadn't finished the story. It was gritty, fast, and unforgiving, exactly what he needed. He took hits, made throws, called plays, and most of all, he felt alive again. He wasn't a failed first-round pick. He wasn't an insurance agent. He was a quarterback, again. And even if no one was watching, the comeback had already begun. Arena football wasn't the NFL, but for Tommy Maddox in 2000, it was everything. The field was smaller, the crowds thinner, but the throws just as fast, the pressure just as real. This was the test. Did he still belong? With the New Jersey Red Dogs, Maddox answered loud. In one season, he threw for 3,800 yards, 64 touchdowns, and only 15 picks. No excuses, no fluff, just pure production. He wasn't riding the bench anymore. He was leading an offense again. Quick reads, tight windows, fast decisions. The poise, still there. The arm, never left. The confidence, back for the first time since Denver. But the Arena League wasn't the destination. It was the launch pad. In 2001, the XFL arrived, a league built on spectacle and second chances. For most, it was a sideshow. For Maddox, it was the stage. He joined the Los Angeles Extreme with something to prove, and cameras everywhere. This time, the spotlight didn't rattle him, it fueled him. He started every game, threw for a league-best 2,186 yards and 18 touchdowns. He led the Extreme to the title game, the $1 million game. One shot at a championship, one chance to silence years of doubt. This wasn't just a title, this was closure, served cold. Maddox delivered. 210 yards, 2 touchdowns, a 38-6 blowout. Named the XFL MVP. He didn't just win, he announced himself. For the first time in years, he wasn't a bust, he was a champion. Scouts took notice, NFL teams started calling, not for hype, but because Maddox had earned it. The Pittsburgh Steelers offered a chance, no promises, no guarantees, just a shot to compete. And after everything he'd fought through, that was all he needed. There was no welcome parade in Pittsburgh. When Tommy Maddox signed with the Steelers in 2001, he was 30 years old, just another backup with more scars than starts. His XFL MVP had earned him a look, but no one expected a miracle. He was depth. Insurance behind Cordell Stewart. Quiet entrance, no expectations. But Maddox carried something different this time, momentum, and a hunger that hadn't gone out, just underground. In 2002, that hunger finally got its chance. The offense stalled under Stewart. The crowd got restless. The coaches made the switch. Maddox stepped in, with nothing to lose and everything to prove. He brought timing, poise, aggression, and suddenly, the offense lit up. In 11 starts, Maddox threw for 2,836 yards and 20 touchdowns. But it wasn't the stat line that changed things. It was the spark, the energy. For the first time in a decade, Maddox wasn't a cautionary tale. He was the guy driving the comeback. And then came the moment that defined it all. Wildcard playoffs. Browns versus Steelers. Down 24-7 in the second half. Season slipping away. Maddox refused to blink. He launched a comeback. 367 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a 36-33 win. The crowd lost its mind. The city found a new hero. In one afternoon, the insurance agent became a playoff legend. He even made NFL history, the first quarterback to start a game after a 10-year gap. Pittsburgh, a city built on grit, embraced him. By season's end, he was named Comeback Player of the Year, not for numbers, for survival. But in the NFL, the next wave is always coming. 2003 brought regression. The team record slipped to 6-10. Maddox's play dipped, and the whispers grew louder. In 2004, the Steelers drafted a kid named Ben Roethlisberger. Maddox started the year, but in week 2, an elbow injury ended his run. Roethlisberger took over, went 15-1. The future had arrived. Just like that, it was over. But Maddox didn't disappear. He mentored, he stabilized, he led from the shadows. And when the Steelers won Super Bowl 40, he was there, helmet off, heart full. He didn't get the confetti moment, but he got something else, respect. For once, the football world finally saw what he never stopped believing. Maddox's story in Pittsburgh was raw, real, and unforgettable. He rose, he fell, he adjusted. He proved you don't need a trophy to finish like a champion. Tommy Maddox didn't just survive football, he rewrote his story, one brutal chapter at a time. From first-round flameout, to insurance agent, to XFL MVP, to playoff hero. Every step was a reminder. Failure isn't final unless you quit. He didn't chase revenge, he chased redemption. Not for the cameras, for himself. Maddox's journey wasn't clean, it wasn't perfect, but it was real. And sometimes, that's what lasts. So here's the question. What could you become if you refuse to stay written off? If you've ever felt written off, Drop your comeback story in the comments, because your next chapter might already be calling.